Thank you so much for joining us for CBN NewsWatch. I'm Ephraim Graham. Ahead today, the United States and United Nations pushing for a ceasefire in the war between Israel and Hamas, along with a Palestinian state which is expected to meet opposition in Israel. Israelis still celebrating over the heroic rescue of 4 hostages from Gaza. We'll bring you a look at how the raid was carried out and how the hostages are doing. Southern Baptists taking on the issue of in vitro fertilization at their annual convention. We'll take a look at the controversy. And your choices, your health, how what you decide makes the difference between good health and bad health. All those stories and more ahead today, right now on CBN NewsWatch.
This is CBN NewsWatch.
We begin this half hour in Israel as the U.S. is still lobbying for a ceasefire and hostage release deal with the war with Hamas. And the push is still underway for a Palestinian state, which is expected to meet stiff resistance in Israel. Chris Mitchell brings us the story. He reports from Jerusalem.
U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken met Monday with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to lobby for the latest U.S. ceasefire proposal.
It's clear that virtually the entire world has come together in support of the proposal. And the only open question is, will Hamas say yes?
The resolution gaining international support Monday, winning the approval of the UN Security Council. The agreement calls for a return of the hostages and an end to the war through a 3-phase plan. Hamas reportedly has agreed to the proposal and begin negotiations, but its calls for an end of the fighting and an Israeli withdrawal from Gaza are non-starters for Israel. Another potential sticking point for Israel is the resolution's call for a 2-state solution and, quote, unifying the Gaza Strip with the West Bank under the Palestinian Authority.
We saw the October 7th massacre by Hamas, which was a direct result of Palestinian Authority education, not Hamas education.
Itamar Marcus, founder of the Palestinian Media Watch, dismisses claims by the U.S. State Department that the PA has been revitalized and is ready for peace.
The problem is that the Palestinian Authority teaches its people that Israel has no right to exist, that killing Jews is something that Allah wants, that destroying Israel is not only a national goal for Palestinians, but is also a goal for Islam because Israel is on holy Islamic land. These are the things that have to be changed in the Palestinian Authority, and we haven't seen any indication of any change at all in the new government.
Israel is still rejoicing over the rescue of 4 hostages. Newly released footage shows Israeli soldiers charging into the apartment where the 3 male hostages were held, then rushing outside under heavy gunfire. They're hurried by the soldiers to a beach, and helicopters ferry them back to Israel. The hostages seem well on the outside, but the director of the medical center that received them says they've suffered physically and mentally.
All of them are in severe nutritional deficiency with a significantly decreased muscle mass. They have endured significant impact to their physical state. They are very excited to meet family members and friends that they have not seen. But gradually and slowly, the very difficult and hard stories of the time they spent in captivity start to come out.
And our CBN Middle East Bureau Chief Chris Mitchell joins us now to continue this story. Chris, Israel spent weeks planning this hostage rescue. Do we know if any more might be in the works?
Well, Ephraim, we're sure they are. We do know that Israel and the U.S. have combined to surveil the Gaza Strip ever since October 7th. These 2 particular locations, when the 3 men and then Noah in the other location have been identified for the last few months. In fact, the Special Forces was able to build a replica of these buildings and practice their rescue. We do know that's why the hostages have been transferred when they are in Gaza. They've been disguised as Muslim men or women because they know the Gaza Strip has been surveilled 24/7. It's extremely difficult to get these hostages because some of them are held in civilian areas like these 4 hostages, or they may be transferred in the more than 400 miles of tunnels. We also know that there is an order to shoot to kill the hostages if there is an another raid. And one other added fact, Ephraim, we do know that Noah Argarmany, she was held in the home of an Al Jazeera journalist.
Chris, the Wall Street Journal published some of Gaza leader Yahya Sinwar's messages to Hamas officials today, saying things like civilian losses are necessary sacrifices, and we have the Israelis right where we want them. What does this tell us about Hamas's strategy?
Well, Ephraim, it's all part of their strategy. They know that civilian deaths evoke sympathy, and they say it often that they love death. And so when civilians are killed in the crossfire, or when Hamas fighters shoot out of civilian areas, that leads to civilian deaths. This demonizes Israel. It affects the way the media reports on the war. That affects politicians. It affects policy, all the way from the UN to the ICC to the ICJ. So in many ways, the West falls for this strategy. Even though Israel does what it can to protect civilian lives, they send texts, phone calls, leaflets. They even have something called knock on a roof. So when a building is going to be destroyed, they put a small munition to make sure everyone gets out. But that's why Sinwar feels that they have Israelis right where they want them, because the strategy he employs, it works.
Chris, Hamas reportedly has agreed to this UN ceasefire resolution. In practical terms, what does that mean?
Well, Ephraim, I would say, based on what Sinwar has said, it's another ploy. He feels he's negotiating out of strength, and by accepting this proposal, he can delay as long as he can. He's depending on the U.S. and the world to continue their pressure on Israel. Many here believe Sinwar is not serious, but he's stringing Israel and the world along. Hamas won't agree to anything less than the end of the war and the removal of all Israeli forces. That's why that means their survival. But Israel can't agree to those conditions and risk the rise of Hamas and another October 7th.
Chris, will Israel accept a deal calling for the permanent end to the fighting without finishing its attacks on Hamas?
Well, there may be some here in Israel that would agree to that, but this government believes they can't end the war unless they destroy Hamas. And as I said, they can't risk the rise of Hamas to live another day and then have another October 7th. So for Israelis, this is really a fight for their survival. And it's not just Hamas. If you continue and see the wider Middle East, it's Hezbollah, it's the Houthis, and eventually it's Iran. You know, there's been nearly 20,000 rockets and missiles fired into Israel since October 7th. Even today, there was a Hezbollah rockets over Haifa. A friend of mine texted me a photo of interception by an Iron Dome. So for Israelis, it's personal and it's existential.
The Biden administration is also still pushing for a Palestinian state. Isn't that still a non-starter with all sides of the political spectrum, with both the Israeli government and the Israeli people?
It is a non-starter for most Israelis right now. Even the Israelis on the Gaza border, they were the ones that were probably the most left-leaning. They were looking for a two-state solution. Many of those people on the kibbutzim had taken Palestinians to the hospitals. They employed them, and tragically, many of them were killed. So there's been a real sea change in the attitude of Israelis since October 7th.
We've covered a lot here, but there's still more to cover. What can we expect on your latest edition of Jerusalem Dateline today?
Well, we have a story more in depth on the rescue of those 4 hostages. We have analysis with Alex Trayman. He's the bureau chief of Jewish News Syndicate. A conversation with me and Chuck Colton, our war correspondent, about how the course of the war is going on. And finally, we have a story about Shavuot, the Feast of Pentecost, and what that means for not only Christians, but Jews as well.
All right, Chris Mitchell from Jerusalem, thanks as always for your insights. Stay safe and know that we back here are praying for you and our entire team there on the ground in Israel. I want to remind you, you can see the latest on Jerusalem Dateline tonight on the CBN News channel. It begins at 8 Eastern. You can also watch it on the CBN News app, or you can find it on YouTube. Israelis are still rejoicing over the weekend rescue of 4 hostages in Gaza. It is the first really good news from the war in a long time. CBN Middle East correspondent Julie Stahl has more on their return and reunion with their families.
Hugs, tears, and an eager audience awaited these diamonds. Noah Argamani, Almog Meir Yan, Shlomi Ziv, and Andrei Kozlov upon their arrival at Sheba Medical Center.
This operation required ingenuity and courage of the highest degree, and our soldiers performed in an unmatchable way.
Israeli forces rescued them from two separate apartments in the Nuseirat refugee camp in central Gaza. Many compared it to the 1976 rescue of 102 hostages at Entebbe airport following the hijacking of a plane by Palestinian and German terrorists. This time, forces simultaneously stormed the buildings, rescuing Noah from one and the three men from the other. They took them to the beach and flew out on helicopters. They are now recovering from their 8-month ordeal.
They are very, very happy and very communicative. They want to talk, they want to share their experience. They are very excited to meet family members and friends that they have not seen. But gradually and slowly, the very difficult and hard stories of the time they spent in captivity start to come out.
Israelis celebrated as news spread from the beach where lifeguards announced the operation, then spread across the country to the world. Noah Argamani is well known from the terrifying video of her capture on October 7th. Her father, Yaakov, thanked God and celebrated her release on his birthday.
After 8 months of being apart from Noah, Noah has returned, praise God. And therefore I wish to say, blessed are you, Lord our God, King of the universe, who has granted us life, sustained us, and enabled us to reach this occasion. I want to thank each and every one of you, the President, the Prime Minister, everyone, each and every person.
Within hours of her arrival, Noah traveled to another hospital to visit her mother, who's suffering from brain cancer. Fearing she might not see Noah again, Leora appealed to Hamas for her daughter's release. The three men were kept together in the home of a medical doctor, Ahmed al-Jamal. His son worked as a journalist, including time with Al Jazeera, a Qatari-based television station.
We are exciting. We are very happy. We thank the IDF for a brilliant operation.
Sadly, Almog Meir Yan's father died of a heart attack hours before his son arrived home. Andrei Kozlov immigrated to Israel by himself from Russia less than 2 years ago. His parents flew in to be with their son. Sadly, Arnon Zamora, head of the unit that led the operation, died from wounds sustained in the battle for the three men. In addition to the rescue, Arnon, a husband and father of two, had also been hailed as a hero on October 7th when he and his men saved the community of Yad Mordechai from terrorist invasion. The government renamed the rescue operation after Arnon. There are still 120 hostages, about 80 of them believed to be alive. Julie Stahl, CBN News, Jerusalem.
Coming up, a hot topic for the Southern Baptist Convention, how to deal with the issue of in vitro fertilization. That story is coming up next right here on CBN NewsWatch. The Southern Baptist Convention, which represents America's largest Protestant denomination, may vote this week to take a stance officially opposing in vitro fertilization, or IVF. As medical reporter Lori Johnson explains, they're part of a growing number of Christians with deep concerns about the procedure.
While many Christians believe embryos created during in vitro fertilization are human life, some disagree about whether the practice should be changed or avoided altogether. The concern is the morality of creating dozens of embryos per patient, implanting only some, and either destroying the others or saving them for future implantation, which often doesn't happen.
It has a mortality of about 5% in the de-thawing process. And it's also, we have millions of frozen embryos in storage now. That's just a whole nother matter, and it's, I think, a tragedy.
But it doesn't have to be that way.
If I were advising a Christian couple that was looking at IVF and felt that this was something that the Lord wanted them to do, I would say that one thing that they would request of their physicians would be that all created embryos be implanted.
That means creating no more than 4 embryos.
We aren't in a position to decide which embryo is going to survive and which embryo is not. Only God can decide that.
Some, such as the Catholic Church, say the practice should be avoided altogether.
The IVF industry, it feeds this cultural entitlement that we have to godlike powers over life and death. And that sense of entitlement is precisely what has fueled the abortion industry.
Others say IVF should be regulated.
We don't really have an objection to in vitro fertilization at all, as long as it's conducted in a way that shows respect for ethical and moral consideration. But as long as that's not the case, as long as it's couples that are desiring to have a child, we support that.
The issue became a political hot button earlier this year when the Alabama Supreme Court ruled embryos are children deserving of protection under the law. The legislature quickly changed the law to protect IVF. On Capitol Hill, there's a bipartisan push to safeguard IVF, with Democrats taking it a step further by introducing legislation calling for most employer-sponsored insurance to cover it.
Is it for gay couples? Is it for only married couples? Do single parents get this benefit? Does it include commercial surrogacy? Does it include transgender couples or parents?
Hi. Meanwhile, faced with infertility, Amanda and Ryan Visser rejected IVF for themselves.
I do have an ethical issue with creating lots of embryos that you don't intend to use.
But adopted the frozen embryos someone else no longer wanted, which became their twin sons.
Even in the freezer, they weren't dead. So I look at that and go, well, there's human life, even at a microscopic level.
So while the debate continues over how or whether to regulate IVF, more Americans are becoming educated about the process as well as the alternatives. Lori Johnson, CBN News.
Still ahead, an expert explains how the choices you make have an impact on your health. We've got that story for you. It's coming out right after this. Despite the trillions of dollars America spends on healthcare each year, far too many of us still struggle with physical and mental ailments. On this week's Healthy Living Show, Dr. Casey Means, the author of the new book, Good Energy, says almost all sickness comes from the same root cause: poor choices. The good news is she also describes exactly how to make better choices. Here again is medical reporter Lori Johnson.
There is this foundational process happening in our bodies all the time, which is metabolism, which is the root of all health, because it's how we actually make energy in the body. All of our cells need energy to function properly, and that happens through metabolism. And in the American body today, 93% of American adults have metabolic dysfunction. This is caused by our toxic food system and our modern lifestyle, which has changed rapidly over the past 50 to 75 years. And our cells really are having trouble doing their most foundational process, which is metabolism. So as a physician and as a surgeon, what I saw in the healthcare system is that we're spending more money every single year on treating diseases, but patients in America aren't really getting better. Our rates of chronic illnesses are going up every single year. The more money we spend on healthcare, the sicker we're getting. We're focusing on the wrong problem. We're focusing on the downstream manifestations of metabolic disease rather than the root cause itself. And it's actually, like you mentioned, quite simple to fix. We have to support our mitochondrial health. Our mitochondria are the parts of the cell that make energy. They're really the hub of metabolism. And right now, our modern world is breaking our mitochondrial function. And this leads to every imaginable chronic disease we're facing today, from cancer to heart disease, stroke, Alzheimer's, dementia, type 2 diabetes, obesity, depression, anxiety, migraine, infertility, erectile dysfunction, you name it. It's linked to metabolic disease. So if we truly want to follow the science, as everyone says we need to be doing, what we would do is focus on metabolic dysfunction as the key central point of our healthcare focus. And if we did that, we'd see people improve rapidly across many different diseases.
So you talk about the pills and the interventions like the surgery you mentioned, when really what the doctors should be doing is an ultra aggressive stance on diet and behavior, doing far more for the patient. Can you talk about what that means?
Something really important for people to understand is that 70% of the calories we're eating in the United States today are ultra processed foods made in factories. This is food that our bodies throughout all of human history, never were exposed to. And essentially, we should think of ultra-processed food as a recent experiment in human culture that has failed. We know that ultra-processed foods drive diseases in children, in infants, in adults, and the elderly. It's contributing to behavioral problems, learning problems, obesity, diabetes, infertility, all the way to Alzheimer's, cancer, type 2 diabetes, and strokes, and of course, cancer. So ultra-processed foods, 70% of our calories, they are not working for our bodies. We need to be switching to fresh, unprocessed, organic food that is not covered in synthetic pesticides. Billions and billions of pounds of pesticides, which we know are toxic to our bodies, are sprayed in our food system every single year. We've got to focus on the freshest, cleanest, unprocessed whole foods as possible. So that's number one. Our bodies are molecularly fully built from food.
Yeah.
And the atoms in our body that make up our cells, which determine our health, are made of food. And a framework I present in the book that I think is really important for people to understand, is really awe-inspiring to me, is that the body is a process. We're not a thing. We're not a static body that is the same throughout our lifetime. We're constantly turning over. And every day when we eat food, we are putting in the building blocks to create the version of our body of tomorrow. And so there's always hope to improve our health because we're constantly turning over and changing. And food it's just one of the things we've got to get right to build the structure and the function for health.
Learn more about how to prevent all types of health problems by making better diet and lifestyle choices on this week's edition of Healthy Living Today on the CBN News Channel. It begins at 2:30 and 6:30 Eastern. You can also see it on the CBN News app or watch on YouTube. We're coming back with an encouraging word for your day ahead. Stay with us. Time now for your Tuesday Tweetable, and today I leave you with this thought. Here's a new way to look at life's journey. You are not failing, you are succeeding, or you are learning. Let's replace the word failing with learning in your life's journey's vocabulary. It's a fresh perspective and a better way to look at what some would call failure. Ask yourself, what's the lesson to learn here? Well, that will do it for this edition of CBN NewsWatch. You can always find more of our programs on the CBN News Channel at any time. Thank you so much for watching. We look forward to seeing you right back here, same time tomorrow. Goodbye and God bless.